Do you suffer from self-doubt? I think I can tell you why. I've been thinking a lot about this because I doubt everything that I do, and I'm sure many of you may feel the same way. So if you do, I hope you'll stick around for a few minutes because I'd like to explain what I've realized in the hope that maybe it will help you. I can't say that I will be able to fix your self-doubt, but maybe I will have some insights that will help you come to terms with what you're dealing with. So, self doubt is something that we deal with on a daily basis. A lot of us do, I believe. And I think a major reason for that is societal expectations. I say as I trip over my words. As I've started this YouTube journey, I have decided that I'm going to just put myself out there, mostly unedited, and see what happens. That doesn't mean I'm not looking for inspiration as to how I can do things better. So I've been watching a lot of videos on how to improve my YouTube channel. And I was watching a series this morning that made me realize the way these videos are framed is causing me self-doubt for a reason, because they're doing it on purpose. What they're doing is they're pointing out where something is lacking, in this case, the YouTuber or the YouTuber's channel, and they're trying to provide ideas on how to fix that, which is fine. I think we all need a little help every now and then to better ourselves, you might say. But that starts to sow the seeds of self-doubt. And my realization this morning was that I need to stop watching these videos because I have enough self-doubt about putting these videos out in the first place. I know they're very raw, they're very rough, and a lot of people will not find them interesting. And I have not gotten a huge audience. Whatever they may say, as in the people who are providing the insights on how to improve, whatever they may say about algorithms and using proper thumbnails and appealing to the right audience. Make sure you have the right first 30 seconds so that you keep people's attention. All of that is wonderful, and that's not what I'm trying to do. I'm just trying to document my life in the best way I know how, and I'm really not trying to become a mega YouTuber, even though that would be kind of fun. I would love to achieve a certain level of success, even as I realize that I'm also terrified of that happening. So that is one of the things that leads to self-doubt. The second thing I am doubting is, and something I have doubted my entire life, is attractiveness. That I doubt that I am an attractive person physically. I've always been a larger person. It goes well back into childhood. I am from a family that is what some people might call pioneer stock. And it was a time period where I was told to clear my plate because there were children starving in XYZ country, or that I was wasting the family's food if I didn't eat everything on my plate, or various reasons. But on the flip side, I was also being told that I would be much more attractive if I weren't quite as heavy. So not only are strangers fueling my self-doubt, but my own family did the same. Now, in the first case, with my YouTube channel, I brought that on myself because I was trying to make improvements, and that's fine. And I will continue to try to improve things. As you've noticed, I've already slipped up a few times in this video. I don't plan to edit that out because that's just what's going on. And I don't really have the time or the interest in making that change. So I'm just going to put this out the way it is. And if that's not good enough for viewers, then they'll move on, which is what has been happening. As for my family, that was probably more of a societal issue. That is something that may be common to a lot of people my age. I'm sure many people, if you are someone who's in your 50s, 60s, or 70s, will remember your parents telling you to eat everything on your plate for some reason or other. And a lot of the reason for that was that our parent, actually in my case, it was my grandparents, were young adults during the Depression era, and wasting food, you just would not do that because food was so expensive and so scarce that you really did need to clean your plate because you wouldn't have another meal maybe for the rest of the day. So there were reasons behind it. I don't blame them for that, but the fact that that carried forward to the next generations turned out to be problematic because then we were in an era of plenty. And especially anyone who is American or who has visited the United States, you'll know that we probably have larger portion sizes than we should. We have much too easy access to things like fast food, and especially with the advent of delivery services and how common they've become, it is easy to probably eat more than we should in order to stay healthy. That's a totally different topic, but that what I'm saying is that I understand where the idea of cleaning everything on my plate came from. I grew up with that thought in mind. I still do that to this day, even though I eat smaller portions. So that kind of led to, I don't know, reinforce my body type. I've never really been a thin person. And I was outdoorsy, though I wasn't really athletic. So, that also led to me feeling unattractive because I have come across a series of ads that people have reposted on social media from my childhood where they talked about, things like husky clothing, where I distinctly remember being so embarrassed that I had to go to the husky department to get my clothes. And that was society telling me that I didn't fit into the normal, more attractive demographic. So that fed into my self-doubt. And that's really the main thing I'm trying to get to right here, is that a lot of our self-doubt comes from the expectations of others based on societal norms. So if you are feeling like you are unsuccessful at something, if you are feeling like you are unattractive, if you are feeling that you are unloved, there are many groups in society that are trying to reinforce those feelings for profit, because that's what it really comes down to, the almighty dollar, especially here in the United States. It is something we have dealt with, and we're dealing with it a lot more as social media has taken off. Excuse me. And with the advent of AI filters that can show you what you could look like. So the diet industry, the beauty industry, the self-help industry, do you need a better partner? Do you need a bigger house? Do you, whatever you need, society or some group in society, some big business has what you need. So they're making you doubt what you have, which is mainly doubting yourself. So that is the realization I came to this morning, that self-doubt is being fueled by societal norms. I can't speak to other cultures because I am very much a person who has grown up in the United States. I do know that living in other countries is very different. I did spend 3 years in Japan. They do have a very different culture, even though they have picked up a lot of, I remember that Levi's were becoming very popular, and the Japanese were really starting to embrace American fast food, Kentucky Fried Chicken and McDonald's and Wendy's and places like that. So American culture is bleeding over into other countries. And I don't know that that's such a good thing. What we really need to combat this epidemic of self-doubt, which is really what is happening, I think that's tied in with a lot of our mental health issues. And obviously, mental health issues are health issues. There are other things at play, but self-doubt does not help them. And again, there is an industry that will help you with your mental health issues. There is an industry that will help you with your physical health issues. There are industries for everything, and that's what I'm trying to point out to you today. When you're having those days where you feel really low and you're doubting how you look, how you feel, what you own, stop for a moment and think about who's going to benefit from you feeling that way. Do you have maybe the house that you've always wanted, but you feel like you need to improve it somehow? Maybe you really don't. Maybe you're just playing into those societal influences. And if you are, like me, a person who grew up with I guess we called it at the time the Clean Plate Club. If you grew up in the Clean Plate Club, if you grew up having to sneak into the Husky department at whatever department store, and you felt a great sense of shame about how your body looked, and if you continue to feel that way about your body, who is profiting off that? It is obviously the industries that are selling you those larger clothes. There are stores that are made for people of different sizes. I remember, I don't remember the specific numbers, but there was a store, I think it was something like 3 numbers. And those basically were the sizes that they carried in that store. So if you weren't in one of those sizes, then don't go into the store. That was a way of shaming you. Like if you were a larger person, or the store that I would go to occasionally would be Torrid, where you could get plus size clothing. And they did have some really cute outfits, but they were always very expensive. And, were those really the clothes that I needed? I always doubted, walking by the store that had the really small size clothes, and going into the store with the larger sizes made me feel that sense of shame and self-doubt about how I looked. And I've been in a committed relationship for more than 40 years. We're coming up on our 44th wedding anniversary, and I feel like we have had a happy marriage. We've had our ups and downs, as everyone does. But even now, sometimes I'm watching things and thinking, oh, are we lacking in some way? Is maybe we haven't done everything that these other couples have done, or maybe we don't relate to each other like these other couples. And again, that is sowing seeds of self-doubt. So the bottom line is that self-doubt is normal, but society, in specific American society, because that's the one I'm most familiar with, will just reinforce that in order to sell you something. Now, I will admit, I am a self-published author. I do have books that I hope people will read. So yes, I do have something to sell, but I am not trying to sell you something I'm not trying to sow seeds of self-doubt in you in order to get you to read my books. Let's put it that way. I'm hoping that if you come across my books, they may be something you enjoy reading. So I'm trying not to do the hard sell. I'm not trying to post these videos to sell books. What I'm really trying to do is to document my day-to-day life. And today I'm documenting the fact that I had you might call it an epiphany this morning, that I was watching these videos and I was noticing that they are pointing out where I'm lacking and trying to tell me how I can improve myself. And again, there's nothing wrong with that. But depending on the mindset that I'm in, it can actually be harmful. And this morning, I discovered that watching as many as I have been is not helping my self-confidence. So I would encourage you, as I said, if you're having a day where you're feeling a lot of self-doubt, where you feel very unattractive, you feel unloved, you feel unsuccessful, stop for a moment and think about what you might have seen or heard that reinforced that feeling. Who is benefiting off you feeling that way? Society is trying to make us feel bad so they can profit. And I don't like that. I think we need to be a more accepting society. I think we need to stop saying that everybody should be a certain size and everybody should look a certain way. Each of us does have a particular desire to feel our best and look our best, and that's fine. The way society is pushing the fact that we're not feeling our best or that we look our best is not a good thing. So, whatever happens today, if you happen to come across this video and you do stop and listen to it and it does resonate with you, I do hope you will take a moment to think about who or what is benefiting off of your self-doubt. Think about these big corporations, these big nameless, faceless corporations. Yes, they were started by somebody, they were smaller at one point, but these mega corporations now really are boards of directors and CEOs and CFOs, and there are a lot of people who stand to profit off of what they do. The corner store that you go to may be a mom and pop corner store, and I do recommend that you try to patronize as many businesses as you can that are run by mom and pop operations, whether it be a little mini mart, whether it be a fast food or some kind of quick dining restaurant, whether it's your local independent authors, whoever you can patronize who is not a mega corporation that is really trying to basically gouge you by making you feel bad about yourself. I think you should try to support those as much as possible, because we're seeing that these mega corporations really have done a lot of harm to our country and to our society. And I try not to get too political on here, but this is a case where these big businesses are buying our politicians. And a lot of what is happening is because they are trying to continue to make money by, causing harm to other people, basically. And I don't agree with that. So what it all comes down to is that we all feel self-doubt. Just don't let society make that self-doubt harmful. Take a moment, think about who serves to profit off of your feelings. Maybe don't patronize those businesses if you can. I know we do need to try to look after our health. So unfortunately, we do have to still deal with insurance companies because that's the way our current health system works. We do have to work with healthcare systems that maybe aren't always looking out for our best interests. There are so many different things that feel like they are personally attacking the little people, and they're not even seeing us as people. They're seeing us as another dollar sign. So don't let them do that to you. Try to connect with as many people as you can on lower levels of society, the people who aren't the influencers, who aren't the mega businesses, who aren't the corrupt politicians. Try to connect with the people who really seem to care for who you are and how you feel. And hopefully that will help ease some of your self-doubt. I know that I love dealing with people that I meet on the street, because even though the powers that be are trying to encourage us to believe that there is so much divisiveness in this country that we're dangers to each other, that's not the case. And again, they're playing into our self-doubts because we're doubting that we can trust anyone. And not being able to trust ourselves or our neighbors is really causing us a lot of harm. That was not the tangent that I meant to go on in this video. I'll wrap this up by just reiterating, don't let the mega corporations reinforce your feelings of self-doubt. Remember that you are a strong person, you are a beautiful person, inside and out, and you are trying to be the best person you can be. And that's all we can do. We may not be influencers. We may not be the head of a mega corporation. We may not be the most well-known person in the country, but that's not what's important. What's important is what we're doing for ourselves, what we're doing for our families, what we're doing for our neighbors and friends, and that we are trying to live the happiest and healthiest life we can. So even when you're feeling those self-doubts, go hang out with a friend. Sometimes we can reinforce how much we care about each other. We can and reinforce what draws us together maybe our common interests, or the fact that we did grow up as parts of the Clean Plate Club and now we feel like we are much bigger than the normal attractive person should be. Just connect with people on a one-to-one level as much as you can. Yes, social media can be a good thing sometimes. You can learn a lot of interesting new facts. You can learn a lot about other people, but really pay attention to what you're consuming on social media. Pay attention to the ads you're getting. Pay attention to the shows that you're streaming. Think about what you're consuming. How much of that is reinforcing your self-doubt? And maybe cut yourself off from some of it, because like I said, I am not going to be be watching as many of the help improve your YouTube channel videos as I was, because it really was starting to make me doubt everything I'm doing. I'm not saying I'm putting out the best videos. I'm not saying I put out the best books. I'm trying to put out things that I enjoy in the hope that other people might find them enjoyable and maybe have a few minutes of, what am I thinking? Encouragement, education, and entertainment. So that's really the focus of what my husband and I are doing. We're mainly trying to encourage people, our fellow authors, readers, or anybody who just happens to come across what we're doing. We're trying to entertain people because we all could use a little entertainment every once in a while. And we're trying to provide some education. So today's video probably falls more along the lines of education than entertainment, but I'm hoping it also provides some encouragement. And I hope that if you're having a day where you're feeling a strong sense of self-doubt, you take a moment to watch this video, you think about what I've said, and remember, you're really not as bad as they're trying to make you out to be. You are a good person. You are a kind person. People like you. I'm sure you have friends. I'm sure you have loved ones. And yes, I know there are all of us who have been through a situation where we had a friend that somehow disappeared at some point because something happened, we had a fight, or we aren't getting along with our family members. Those things do happen. That's normal. And that doesn't mean you're a bad person. Sometimes people just grow apart. So try to be kind to yourself. Try to have the best day possible. And I hope that if you've watched this video, it will help you in some way today. If you are new to my channel, and even if you don't stick around, I'm Cassidy Carson, and I like to talk about my day-to-day life as a writer. I'm doing a series right now where I am fast drafting a book. I'm trying to get a draft done by a short period of time in the hope of making a deadline that I've set for myself. I talk about the things I do on a daily basis, whether they're writing related or just random thoughts like this. And I'm hoping to connect with people who might need a friendly ear and just maybe a little bit of encouragement. So, as I said, I'm Cassidy Carson, and this is the life of a writer. Please remember to be kind to yourself and have a great day. Take care.